idea what that is.
That's in Noosa's amazing. Noosa's just sort of further north, Queensland. Beautiful spot, like right on the coast. Love it. Incredible. So,
Hear me, but it is a bit
oh,
noisy. I didn't realise. I'm so sorry.
no, that's okay, babe. As long as you can hear us, can you hear us
Yeah, I
okay?
can. I
Yeah.
can. I can.
Okay, okay. Incredible. All right, so let's get started. I'll just pop you on mute for, yeah, I've got you on mute now. Okay, so let's get started. Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you here today with the Yacht Transition Collective and our incredible guest, Charl from the Yachting Investor. Welcome, all. We are actually showing up today and just jumping on and sharing with you about all things finance and investing. And the reason that we've been so drawn to come on and share in this way is it's something that myself and Charl both witnessed when we stepped off the yachts. There was something missing. For me, there wasn't the support. Like, how much support is there when you think about it when you jump into yachting to get that first
Mhm.
job, to really build up your confidence, have the support not only with the community that you're surrounded by, but the yachting agents that help you get that first job, friends surrounding you. There's so much support there. But when we come to transition from yacht life to land, I really struggled. I left about 6 years ago. I held incredible positions with the yachting industry. It was my dream career. Absolutely loved it. I did it for about 10 years, traveled all through the Med, Caribbean, South Pacific. And I really, because of my spa background, I landed myself on some of the most incredible sought after yachts at the time. I held a 6 year career within one vessel itself, and I ended up being a fly in, fly out spa therapist. I was able to study yoga instructing in that time and had the most incredible owners, that dream job that would let you use all of the equipment, go on all of the
Mhm.
adventures. And it was just like, wow, my mind was blown. I didn't think I was ever going to leave that yacht. But sure enough, the pull to family came stronger. I'm very close with my nan and pop. They were like parents to me. And I noticed that they started to get older. And this might be something you can all relate to, just missing family and friend events, and obviously getting to that stage in my life where I'd met my partner on board and we were thinking about having children. And yeah, just kind of wanted my own life and identity back. But even though I think what a lot of us struggle with when we transition from the yacht space to land is the identity piece. Like, who are we outside of the yachts? Our identity is so wrapped up in yachting, the community, the lifestyle. Look, we live, work, and poop in this, in the same area. We don't go home. Like, that community becomes our family. And we're so busy on board and we're living the life. And then all of a sudden, we come home and our friends and family, it was always fun for a few weeks. But then after that, our friends and family, we realize that they all have lives. They're carrying on with their jobs. And we start to question, where do we fit here anymore? You've grown so much of a person as a person and you've witnessed so many things. And one of the big ones that we helped with last week's call was actually around the mental health side of it. So, this is a big part of why I've created the Yacht Transition Collective because I really want to support people fully. It's not just one thing that's going to help us transition confidently from the yachts, it's the mental health side of things, like identifying who are we, what are our passions, what are our values outside of yachting, what career or what job could we have on land. That we have so many incredible transferable skills from the yachting space that I don't think we realize gives us so much power in stepping into land life. But
Mhm.
it's just unlocking that. It's just having a different perspective, maybe a different conversation. Another thing that I'm going to share with you guys throughout this call is the link to my WhatsApp group, which is the Yacht Transition Collective WhatsApp group, because we need community, right? When I left the yachts and I came to land, I felt so alone, so lonely. I've spoken about this before. I was unpacking my dishwasher at home, had my music on, and I was dancing around. And then all of a sudden, I just started crying because I didn't have my stewardesses with me, like
Mhm.
I didn't have my tribe. And I think we can all relate to that. There's such a space that we step into that does allow us to have that solitude. And if if you have the confidence to come into that solitude as a power to actually reflect a lot on yourself and learn how to grow and move forward, we really do need that time. But there's always so much noise on the yacht, so we just don't have that. The other
Yeah.
thing, and this is why we've got you on call today, is Charl, what he does with his profession. Finance. Wow, how many conversations have I had with yacht crew? Because I've been out of the industry for 6 years now, and so many of my friends, when we stepped off the yachts, I mean, there is a lot more financial education out there now, and a lot of the younger crew are needing to invest just because of the cost of inflation and living and everything like that. It's a necessity. But when I left the yacht, so many of us didn't. And we always sort of, I remember starting so many times, and I know Charles heard this so many times. I started researching and I just was so overwhelmed with where to start, what to do. I just had no idea. And so, of course, I didn't. And I think so many of us can relate to that. And this is why I feel so passionate about this. And I know Charles does, because I want to offer something. We want to offer something for you guys that we didn't have. Like, I would have died for this call when I was actually in the industry. Like, oh my goodness, like, what a savior. And we need more of this support. So that's what we're here for you today. I think that's enough about my story. There's so much more I could go on about, but make sure that I'll pop in the chat my link. So follow me on Instagram and also jump on the WhatsApp group so that if you are transitioning, thinking of transitioning, you can have that full support. And I know that Charles going to talk into some of his offerings for you as well. So that's what we're here for. I'm going to bring him out. I cannot wait for him to introduce you. And wow, have you got a call install? So thanks so much, Charles.
Thank you very much for having me and for everything you do. It's a very valuable level of support, and you're right. There's lots of people wanting to take us in as
Mm.
yachties, but once you get spat out by Poseidon, there's no one really there to kind of nurture you and make you realize like moving to land is not that easy. Um, the community thing struck a chord, the dishwasher packing thing. Like, I live in America, in California, and I don't have any of that camaraderie around me. I work in a warehouse with 9 people who don't speak English. So it's like, it's gnarly. I miss the yachts a lot. But what I'm here for today is to help simplify money,
Mm.
because it is so misunderstood and it's intentionally designed to sound confusing so that you feel the need to employ a professional to help you. But as the yachting investor, my whole goal is to democratize financial literacy for every yachtie on planet Earth and make them realize they are sitting on a golden opportunity to not only save, but invest their way to financial independence.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited to the ones that are here now around us and the ones watching this in a different timestamp. Buckle up and let's try and make money a bit sexy.
Woo, I like that.
Okay. So today, because we're kind of dealing with a niche crowd of people on the latter end or people considering getting out, we are going to approach this out of that lens. So this is what I call your yacht exit runway. And this is your full financial system for funding your next chapter of the boat. Very important thing that I picked up is the money is very, very free cash flow while we're within the industry. And you very quickly get used to having your razor blades paid for and having infinite access to the most yummy food in the world without worrying how much you swipe at the grocery store. And I was in yachting for 7.5, almost 8 years. And I'm someone that's very, very concerned, and money's always top of mind for me. But when it's someone else's card, you don't think it's the boss's money. I don't care what the difference is in the price of butter, right?
Mhm.
But when you move back to land, you do care about those things because it is gnarly out there. So, what I'm trying to emphasize here is that yachting income is a short term advantage and it does not last forever. You
Mm.
work in one of the highest earning, lowest tax industries in the world, but this window will close. The step off of the boat is the highest risk financial moment in your career if you're not prepared. and most crew completely underestimate it. Your hidden costs disappear, the tips stop, and land-based bills start on day one. If you build your exit plan before you leave, you can walk into your next chapter with clarity instead of panic. And then the definition of our runway: you have high earnings, low living costs, and minimal taxes for many nationalities, which gives you a rare window to save your exit cash before you leave the boat. Let's take my pay when I was a first mate. I used to earn 8,400 US dollars per month. I don't earn the same right now, but if I did, I would only net 5,000 of that. Then there's 2,000 for rent. Then there's 650 for groceries. And before you know it, you have maybe 200 or 300 bucks left at the end of the month to play with. Whereas with yachting, pretty much 100% of your paycheck is disposable. Who is this for? People planning their exit. So those of you listening that are thinking of leaving the industry within the next 6 to 24 months, those that need clarity, like an actual number, not an arbitrary idea out in the metaverse, an actual concrete number of how much cash you need before you leave, and you need structure. And I'm going to help you build a system that gets you off the boat without needing to panic. Who this is not for, and this is more important than the slide before. Guys, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a snake oil salesman. I'm not going to tell you about some new crypto coin that's going to make you rich overnight. It takes discipline. It's boring. It's unsexy. Crew who are not ready to exit and commit to a system. Yes, you can watch this. By all means, we enjoy the clout. But if you're not serious about this, maybe go play outside, because this is really, really, really important to lock in and try register what I'm telling you today. Okay, exit problems are system problems. Now, this is there's more nuance to this. It's not all ones and zeros. Sometimes it's a really hard decision deciding whether we want to leave, because on top of the pay that's good and the travel that's good, you form friendships. There's an element of freedom in yachting that you can't really emulate when you sit behind a desk. Yes, it's a 16-hour day, but trust me, I still prefer the 16-hour days driving a tender than the 8-hour days driving a forklift. You don't need financial knowledge. You only need a runway system for the moment you stepped off the boat. And this is why I've built a bunch of SOPs, standard operating procedures, which I know all yachties love, to remove the emotion, automate decisions, and make sure you're never caught short, whether you're mid-season or planning your last contract. So let's dive in. What is your exit runway actually? That was one of my favorite days in yachting ever on this picture. That's a little island in Croatia called Yacht. And the boss left for a weekend and he told us, use the boat as much as you want. Bring people that you meet on the island as long as it's clean when I get back. And that's where that picture was taken.
Amazing.
Sidetrack squirrel. Okay, your runway, what does this mean? How long your cash can support you if income drops. It's measured in months, not dollars. This is the formula I used for myself and which I now help hundreds of coaching students with to emulate. Your monthly land-based burn, in other words, how much money you need to survive per month, multiplied by the months that you want a safety buffer, equals your required cash. Now, most yachties I work with, depending on their age, depending on their dependents, depending on where they go to after yachting, I normally estimate anything between 6 to 9 months in cold hard cash is a happy number to let you sleep well at night while you figure out your next move. The mistake that most people make, though, mixing the safety money, which is our exit runway money we just discussed, with your investment money. We need to divide these things into buckets. Otherwise, it gets confused. The 4 buckets I like to use: your spending cash day to day, your fixed commitments, the costs that you know are coming, electricity bills, rent, insurance for your car, cell phone bill. Then your emergency runway, which is the calculated number we just spoke about in the previous slide, your monthly land-based burn multiplied by the amount of months. And then also finally, your fourth bucket is your investable capital. This is everything else. This is dollars that don't have a job yet. This is, I call it dry powder in the fire extinguisher. This is what is ready to be deployed once we know that A, B, C has been taken care of. But if you invest your runway by mistake, which some people do because they hear about some sexy investment out there, and suddenly, poof, the $50,000 that you allocated to your new life is in an investment that is tanking. Do not do that. Okay? Okay, so let's calculate this. If you pull up this link for us, Ebony, we will quickly go on this calculator and we'll create a hypothetical scenario of stewardess Sally. Okay. So if you scroll down there, this is a calculator I made that is free for everyone, by the way, to use. And as you go there, we see there's our formula. Our monthly land-based burn multiplied by our months of runway equals your required cash. 6 months is ideal for those that are quite risky. 9 months is controlled, and 12 months if you really want to relax about your exit. Okay, so stewardess Sally. She was a second stew for a bunch of years in Florida. She was born in the UK. She decides after yachting, she's going to head back to London to go and start a online business, just like Ebony and I. Okay. Rent in London is hardcore. She's going to pay at least $2,500 for rent. Food, not cheap in the UK, and it tastes like shit. At least 600. Transport, not a lot of people in the UK have cars, but they have to use the tube or the underground. And I don't know what that costs, to be honest, but let's call it $150 for a monthly pass. Insurance and healthcare is not nearly as bad as in the US because they have the National Health Service, not relevant to this call, but let's put in there 120. Okay. And then miscellaneous, because people still need to go have dinners, people still need to buy clothes, do the fun things in life. And let's say she wants 1,000 of spending. So that means in order for Sally to leave, she needs to scroll down. That's how much senior, actually, scroll up a little bit.
See
Something didn't take in that
that?
calculation.
Oh, do we
Just
need
click
to
on each
select
of,
here? 6 month, 9 month?
correct,
Which one?
correct.
Which one would you like?
Let's start on 6
Yeah.
and let's go to 12.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yep. So we can see 5,220 and then 12.
There
Yeah.
we go. Okay, so she's going to need quite a runway of cash before she can start thinking about exiting, right? Now, this is the whole point of this exit runway that we're trying to achieve, is making sure that while you can and the money flows freely, you can put some money inside for the rainy day, which is the life post yachting. Okay, thank you. We can hop back to the slides, please.
Awesome. And what I'll do is I'll put this link in the chat as well. And then also make sure that, sorry, bear with me here. Are we? And that we'll get that to people at the end of the call as well.
Perfect. Okay, so there's another real example. If you require $2,500 a month to survive, multiplied by 9 months, $27,000 is required to exit in peace. Enter your own numbers and get your figure today, right as soon as you're finished watching this video. Okay, then a little bit about me for a quick pause. So I am not just talking like some random dude in an office that likes money. I was a yachty. I started as a broke deckhand. I was actually in debt when I started yachting. I bought a one-way ticket to Spain and I started my life working on super yachts. After 7.5 years in the industry, I left with a net worth of $530,000 by only following a disciplined system-based approach to investing. I really am not smarter than the guy next door. I didn't have any tips from a rich uncle working on Wall Street. I just committed to a system from day one, which looked like this. Even when I was earning $2,500 as a deckhand, I committed to investing 90% of my salary every month. So I was putting away $2,300 as a decky. When I progressed to being a bosun, now I was earning 5,000. Then 90% of 5,000 was 4,000.
Mm-hmm.
So 4,500. So that meant that I had more spending money as I got my raise, but I kept the relative amount of my earnings to still pay my future self. And that was really, really, really important to form the habits. All of this was done by building something that I call my financial SOPs. So 7 steps you need to follow to build a healthy, wealthy financial life. I'm going to name them quickly and then we'll run through all the slides. Number 1, set clear goals. You have to understand and portray what you want to achieve in what amount of time. Number 2, you got to build an emergency fund. Number 3, you got to eliminate bad debt. Number 4, you got to max out your tax-free investment vehicles. Number 5,
Sorry.
yeah, it's okay. You can stay on the previous slide.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
There, sorry.
Number 5 is hyperaccumulation. Number 6 is prepaying low interest debt. And number 7 is automating your entire journey. And now we're quickly going to double click into each one of these ones. So number 1, setting clear goals. When do you want to leave yachting? Are you wanting to buy a property? Do you want to start a business? Number 2, within setting clear goals, set your timeline. Is this a 3-year goal? Is it a 5-year goal? Or is it a 10-year financial target? And number 3, track your net worth monthly. I built a tracker for yachties to use. It's totally free. And that's how you can start planning your financial life even before you step a foot on land. And a rule of thumb down there at the bottom, you can't build wealth without a plan. Write it down. Okay. Number 2, funding your exit runway. This is an inverse version of building our emergency fund. So like we discussed with the runway calculator, you need to know how much you need to future-proof yourself. And this is how you can do it. If you know you have 6 months left before you leave the yachts, start putting that paycheck aside instead of going to the beach clubs. Okay? Your calculator number is the target. Don't touch it until you're ready to leave. If you reach that magic number before the allotted time, by all means, treat yourself. But if you know you are exiting yachting, make sure you reach that goal. That's step number 2. Now we can head to step number 3. Eliminating bad debt. Now, most yachties are blessed at the latter end of their career, where hopefully at this point, if you came into yachting with debt, you knocked some of that off. But if you didn't, or if you were unlucky and you maybe incurred an injury or a family member needed your help financially and suddenly you are now in debt, before exiting, really consider using yachting as your launch pad to pay off that debt. And there's 2 ways that I help yachties tackle this: the avalanche method and the snowball method. So the avalanche method is paying off your highest interest rate debt first. So if you have a credit card and you have a student loan and you have a car payment, we subdivide which one of them have the highest interest rate, and then we pay off the highest interest rate one first, because that's the one dragging you down the most. That's your heaviest anchor. That is mathematically the most correct way to approach this. However, The snowball method is something that I find people resonate with a bit more. That is tackling the smallest debt first. Even though it's not mathematically the correct one, what it does do, it shows you it's possible. So if your smallest debt amount was your car payment, tackle that first, because then you see it's possible. And then you can move on to paying the student loan debt. And then you can go on to paying off your mortgage. But whichever method you decide on taking, as long as you avoid new debt, you don't want to be buying something unnecessary mid-operation and doing something irresponsible. Like I had a coaching student that bought a jet ski recently. You're a yachty that runs on the jet ski all day long. Why would you buy yourself a jet ski to keep back home in South Africa? And then a small rule of thumb, what is high and what is low interest? A rule of thumb that is commonly used in the personal finance space, anything over 6% is too high. If you have any form of debt against you over 6%, rather pay it off before you start considering investing. Okay, next one. Maxing out your tax-free investment vehicles. So, very important step. A lot of the countries, especially the main ones in the yachting sphere, they have sexy retirement accounts, which means money either goes in tax-free and grows, and you don't pay tax on it, or and you pay tax on it later, or it goes in tax deferred, and at the end of it, you have to pay the tax man. And the examples for the main yachties are as follows. South Africans, we have something called a TFSA, tax-free savings account. You can contribute up to 46,000 Rand per year, which is about 3,000 US dollars. Tax-free, you need to max that out, non-negotiable. Americans, you have something called a Roth IRA, which you can contribute up to $7,500 per year. And a 401k, if your boat offers that, up to $22,000 per year. These are very large amounts you can invest without needing to pay tax. Europeans, you have anything from the Brits, they have something called an ISA, an individual savings account. The French have a scheme, the Spanish have a scheme. And then Australians and Kiwis, you have something called a superannuation. I'm not even going to pretend to know the amounts, I forgot, but that is very important to max out as a yachty. And what does this do? It legally minimizes your tax bill while growing wealth faster through compounding. Rule of thumb, as little as $500 a month invested can grow up to $300,000 in 20 years at a 7% rate of return. A 7% rate of return is a conservative estimate. The markets return around 10% traditionally. So I'm working on lower end numbers for those of you that are interested. Next one. Automating. Okay, so setting and forgetting investing removes emotion once your runway is funded. Open a brokerage. It is literally as easy as ordering an Uber these days. You can use Vanguard, you can use Fidelity. My personal favorite is Interactive Brokers because it's available to every country. So I can help all my students set up their automation via Interactive Brokers. And I will send Ebony a link, a sign-up link, and I believe you get $200 of free stock when you use that link. Very important. We've been talking about how to invest, but we haven't touched yet on what to invest in. And for today's discussion, I'm not going to go into the nuts and bolts of stuff. That's when people can come and contact me and see if they want to dive a bit deeper. But essentially, what I recommend to 99.9% of yacht crew, get yourself invested into a low-cost index fund. These are also known as ETFs. A very common one that all of you would have heard of before is the S&P 500. Now, final part of today's lesson on index funds, let me give you a quick analogy of how I understand an index fund. Take the S&P 500, for example. It is the top 500 companies in the USA in one basket that you can purchase with a click of a button. How can we equate this to the yachting industry? A fleet of 500 boats. You buy into the fleet, and essentially you own a tiny piece of ownership of all 500 boats. And the magic about index fund investing is those boats that are no longer performing, maybe they have a sucky crew or they have an engine failure, they get replaced by better boats. So you as a yachty can just go about your business. You can enjoy your day to day, do the beach setups, do the turndowns. And in the back of it, the algorithm is flushing out and making sure your money gets invested into the best businesses. Do not try to time the market. Dollar cost averaging works. And a rule of thumb, first fund your runway and then start looking at investing 30 to 50% of your salary per month. No one needs to go as hardcore as I was. Half your salary is plenty to set yourself up financially. Okay, next one. Diversifying your income streams. Yacht crew income is reliable when you're a permanent yachty. But, and this is something I'm very, very glad I did while I was yacht crew, I started the Yachting Investor a year before I knew I was going to exit. So by the time I stepped onto land, it wasn't much, but it wasn't nothing. That's really important. And I know how intense and time consuming yachting is. But I urge all of you to at least get your foot in the door. It doesn't need to be cash flow positive. Just try something. And yes, certain programs are really busy and you do back to back, back to back, back to back. But you do have yacht periods. You do have normal 9 to 5 periods. And instead of joining every day's after work beers, commit 1 or 2 of those days. Learn how to leverage AI. It's never been easier to build a business. And just set yourself apart from the status quo, and you'll be happy when the time comes to exit. My rule of thumb, always make sure you have 1 or 2 income streams. My first income stream was revenue from rental properties. My second income stream was from the Yachting Investor. I need 1 second.
Oh, go for it. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. So I know we've got you on. Pop in the chat. How are you finding the call so far? I know for myself, what's really come up here is Charl and I did a live call the other day, and I really appreciated how he shared. I mean, we can see from his side, he actually was quite, oh, what's the word? It's going to come to me, aggressive with his investing. But as he said, you don't have to be that way. You can choose to be that way. But from my experience, I saved 400,000 when I left the yachts, but I had, which I was so proud of. But in saying that, I didn't have family, like what you said, Charl. I didn't have family that knew about investing. So that money sat there. And I only think if over time on board the yachts, or even afterwards, I had have invested that money, I kept it there because I thought I was going to buy a house, but it just sat there, So it was only after I left the yachts is when I really researched and delved into it, what Charl's talking about now. And I really appreciate you saying you don't have to change your lifestyle, because you really don't. It's just a little bit every month that can go in and just build and compound over time. I think that's a really big one to highlight there. I'll hand back over to you, Charl. I'll get the screen back up for you.
Thanks for that. And I wanna piggyback on something you said there, because it's really important. I'm really intense. Everything I do like full mode. Same with the money. I know not everyone is like that. And one very important thing is that everything I'm trying to preach here, it has nothing to do with being scarce. I don't want people to starve themselves from enjoyment. I don't want people to not YOLO. Can't believe I just said that. I'm 30 years old. But you can have your cake and eat it too as a yachty. You can. I still did the most epic adventures because I didn't have to pay rent. And as a South African, I didn't have to pay tax either. So none of this is starving yourself from enjoyment. You are going to be in the most gorgeous places on earth. But what I see most yachties get wrong They buy things or do things because the crew are doing it.
Mm.
The 19-year-old deckhand from Mississippi, he gets pulled in by the cool guys from Australia and England and whatever. And they're like, yeah, come with us to the bar. Maybe he doesn't want to do that, but he catches himself falling in this loop and this cycle. And then because we are always immersed in these crazy expensive ports,
Mm.
got a stewardess loves a Louis Vuitton shop, doesn't she? You get the charter tip, you leave port, you walk past the shop, and suddenly you own the same handbag as the missus.
Mm.
Okay. That's fine if you really get joy and excitement out of material things. But most people on their deathbeds don't talk about the things they bought, they talk about the things they did.
Mm.
And that's really important. I don't mind dropping $10,000 on the coolest adventure gear and going with my wife across the mountains for 3 or 4 days. But you won't catch me dead buying a designer cert.
Mm.
So it's all about being intentional. And my favorite quote to summarize all of this in personal finance is a quote by Ramit Sethi, who's a finance writer. And it is, spend extravagantly on the things you love, but cut mercilessly on the things you don't.
Mm. Mhm.
And that way, you know you spend money on the shit that matters to you, and then you save money on things that really don't move the needle for you as a person.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, sidetrack. Okay, then step number 7, automation. Review and adjust quarterly. Every quarter, look at your runway progress. How close are you getting to your target? How is your net worth progressing? And again, I'll drop a calculator link for all of you. It's totally free to use. This is going to help you input what you have minus the what you have nots. And it's going to create a dashboard and show you how you can better spend your money. It's going to show you investment performance, how to reduce your debt, and how to grow your income. And a rule of thumb, I only spend 30 minutes per quarter to do my wealth building. And for someone that's so obsessed with finance, I am not lying to you guys. I have never spent more than 1 hour in a month working on my own finances. Everything is automated, and it means I cannot fiddle with it. All right. We've been through this one. And then that's it, guys, for my main presentation. Fun fact, that was me on my very first day on a yacht. 2019 Palma firefighting drill. Um, do we have any questions from you, Ebony, or anyone in the live?
I'm just going to take off screen share there. I know I couldn't actually see the chat while we were sharing. So I've got something here. I just asked Soph for some feedback as we are going along. She said it's been great. I think there is just so many ways out there being shown to make it confusing. And that's why I haven't done anything. This is my story and I just want to go on top of it. I just want to get on top of it. So many yachties stories I hear there. I think what Charl shared as well, as he said to reach out to him, will definitely give you ways of reaching out to him at the end of the call. But so feel free. I don't know how noisy it is there for you in the cafe. You could either jump out live and you're welcome to ask Charl any questions, or just pop it in the chat if you're still in a noisy cafe.
And Sophie, while you work on that, you are not alone. It is the number one question and number one theme that I see amongst people. It's intentionally designed that way. It infuriates me because it's really not hard. But what I'm doing at the Yachting Investor is showing each yachty from each nationality, how do they follow these 7 steps? What's the best bank account? How do I budget? What type of brokerage can I use? Do I buy stocks? Do I buy property? How do I get into crypto? All these questions that I get on and on and on. I promise you, I will do my best to make it simple for you.
That's what it is, right? All about simplifying. So if I don't know, oh yeah, we've got you. Feel free to jump out and share. Oh, we don't have you though. For some reason you're on mute. Can you? Oh, you should be on. Yeah. Let's give it another go. So if we can't hear you, I've just asked you to unmute again. Oh, there you go. Yes, got you.
No, she's gone
Oh
again.
no. Yep, got you. We got you.
We've got me. We've got me. Okay. I want to get into knowing a little bit more of, like, I just don't even know what platforms to be using. And there's so many out there. And then everyone you talk to is using different things. And then you're hearing about ETFs and you're hearing about these terms. And I'm like, I just don't even know. And I've just started understanding a little bit more about compounding your money and the interest in that. And I've only kind of been looking into it in the past like month or two, and I know that how to really get the most out of your money is really investing instead of it just sitting in your bank. And I feel like that's where mine's been for the most part, because I just don't know what to do. And the one time that I did invest, it's not being good for me. But this is off going from trends and hearing different things and believing different things, and it's just like I want to understand it more so than just doing what other people say as well.
Yep.
So that's kind of where my head's at. And yeah, I just don't even know what apps to do and like kind of diversify and all that kind of thing. So just trying to get my head around it all is where I am.
Okay, I get you. So I'm going to distill this into the most simple advice possible. There's an app called Interactive Brokers. You got that?
I'm just popping it in the chat for you. Interact brokers I've written, but interactive brokers.
Okay, and I'm going to make it extra easy by
the link. You might have a link there, Charl, that you can share. Or
yes, correct. Let me quickly copy
Thank
this.
you.
So what we want to be doing is sign up for Interactive Brokers. It's available to all nationalities. Sorry, I'm a man. I can't multitask properly.
That's okay. I think that's what I thought. There you go. There you go, babe. The link's up there. And I'll make sure as well for people catching the replay that we'll have these available. Reach out to myself or Charl. Yeah.
Okay. And this is what we're going to do. You're going to go through the steps. It's the classic confirm your identity, make sure you're not a bot or a criminal, which you don't look like you are one. So I think I think you're fine. You're going to sign up for that. And then what I will do, and I will personally help you walk through this free of charge on a video call, help you set up how to buy an index fund. My index fund of choice I mentioned earlier is the S&P 500. And on Interactive Brokers, it's going to have a little code named VOO. VOO is the ticker symbol for the S&P 500 ETF. Now, with a click of a button, you buy one share of VOO. Yesterday or day before, when I looked at the price, it was like $650, but you can buy a fraction of it. There's no limits on it. When you do that, you essentially buy a tiny piece of ownership of the top 500 companies in the world. And those companies are products we use every day. I'm sitting here on a MacBook, Apple. I'm pretty sure one of you have consumed a Coca-Cola product in the past few weeks. We're on WhatsApp. We're on Instagram. So we buy Meta stock. So instead of being a stock picking genius or trying to be a stock picking genius and trying to analyze 500 stocks at the same time, buy the index and buy them all. I only started diversifying beyond index funds when I reached over $200,000 in assets. And the reason for that is at that amount, compounding starts doing magic. Okay, and then I'm going to show you something really cool because that was a good question.
And I feel like it's a question that it's not just you. As you said, Charl, you're not alone. Like so many, I feel like that, as I said, that was my story on the yacht. So I was ready to invest, but I just got overwhelmed every time I researched. So yeah, this is gold, what Charl's sharing right now.
Absolutely. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay, so this is the Yachting Investor Compound Interest Calculator. I am such a nerd. Okay, so what I've done here, for example, I've set a few presets. So, Sophie, not sure what your position is, but let's say you're a second stew earning 4,000 USD per month. I've built a preset here. So if you decide to invest half of your salary, that would be 2,000 a month. It autofills this column for you. Let's say Sophie has worked on yachts for a few years and she's managed to amass $10,000 thus far that she's ready to invest. She's going to contribute 2,000 of it monthly. And then I'm going to assume an interest rate of 8%, even though it's actually around 10 historically, compounded annually. So let me teach you how to consume this information. You have invested over 10 years, $250,000. Okay? You've gotten $119,000 in interest, and that means you are leaving with $369,000. If you're a visual person, the black line is your contributions, and the blue line is what the markets have given you back. Meaning 32% of the money you've made was done by compounding. Now, at the 10-year mark, you see some of it. But if you go to 15 years, look what happens. You've now only contributed 370K. You've gotten 313 back, and you're sitting at $683,000. You see how that line is peeling away from the black line? That is compound interest. Your money is making babies, and those babies are making more babies. That's what's happening right here. And then finally, after 20 years, you'll probably be in your 40s at this point, you are a millionaire. And this is why I urge yachties, and Ebony, I don't want to pop your bubble, but if you put 400K in there and let that compound, I don't think we would have been on this call. You wouldn't have needed to start this business.
No, I know. And I mean, wow, it wouldn't have been a chunk of money at that time, but over time, I mean, I'm investing now. And I think that was the thing. I turned 40 and I was like, this is it. I had it with myself and I'm like, I'm getting on top of my financial, empowering myself financially. And so I've read all the books, I listened to all the podcasts, I did all the research. And so now I'm in the position. But yes, as you say, I know, you can't look back and regret the things that you did.
No,
but
you can't.
it's we live and we learn, don't we? But yes, this is again, I'm so passionate about getting this out to people because the other call we did the other day, to think of yachties being on board where you have everything paid for, and really once you start putting a little bit aside monthly, you really aren't going to notice it. It's not going to be a big lifestyle change for you. So it's just an adjustment, and look at what it can be doing for you. So yeah, how was that for you, Soph? I'll just pop the chat up so we can see. Oh.
Really helpful. I was just asking, and I know that this is I kind of already know that it's the answer, but when you're doing this kind of thing, it's not letting you take out the money. This is like a long-term investment.
Good
situation.
question. Good question. Yeah. So I would change the wording from letting. That choice remains yours. The reason why I recommend index fund investing, and I love that you asked this question, is it's not bound to a financial advisor. Because I see so many yacht crew commit themselves to an investment scheme that is not sustainable for them in the long term. They can't get their money out without paying a penalty. You are the captain. You're driving the ship. You get to decide when it comes out. Now, I don't like having that idea in my head because the whole point is to leave it in there so it can compound. But when shit hits the fan, and it does in life, you can get access to that money within a second. So that's a very, very good question. You don't want to do it, but you are always able to tap into it like a piggy bank.
And I
Um,
mean, as a lifestyle choice, so if you could, those figures, you could adjust those for yourself. I don't know, like obviously Charl's just doing a hypothetical. We don't know what you're earning. We don't know what your comfort zone of, putting aside. It might start off small. It might be small increments. And then you'll get a buzz off the fact. I love how Charl said, paying off the smallest debt, because I can see that that's positive reinforcement for someone. They get a buzz that they've actually been able to do it. It's tangible. They can actually make that repayment. So for you as well, it might be just a little bit and you'll get a buzz and you'll see it growing, and then that'll encourage you to potentially put in a little bit more. And again, it's definitely not something where you have to change your lifestyle over.
yeah. Great question. The next one, Sophie. Do you have to pay taxes on the money you have earned?
Mhm.
If this is in a standard account, yes. If it is in something that is tax sheltered, like for Australians, the superannuation, it works different. I'm not an expert on Australian finance, but it's going to be one of two things. Either you're going to pay tax on the money before it enters the account,
Mhm.
which is ideal because that means whatever compounds is yours. The number you see on the screen is what you're going to get out one day. If it's the inverse of that, then your money goes in tax free. It grows for years and years. And then at the end of the day, you pay capital gains tax depending on what your income is at the time of retirement. Again, guys, I'm not a financial advisor. I've never pretended to be one. This is where financial advisors get their money's worth, is when dealing with the intricate tax stuff. You're asking really good questions, but I would still rather pay tax on $1 million than not invest anything at all.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, awesome. Have you got any more questions there, Soph? We're coming up to time, but we can definitely fit in one more question if you have.
No, that's pretty much everything. I definitely will be looking into the interactive broker app, and then the VOO ETF. I did a few notes, um,
Awesome.
and go from there. Um, and even if I could get your guidance off that, as you mentioned, that would be even better. Just to get you
Yep.
started, when it just can be a bit daunting. You're like, am I doing it right? And you probably are 9 times out of 10, but
Yeah.
it's nice. Yeah.
It's what I call analysis paralysis.
Mm.
There's too much to consume in the beginning. You get flustered. I would love to help you, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Ebony every single resource I've ever made. There's a guide. I've made something called How to Invest $1,000 as a Yachty, which walks each nationality through exactly how to buy their first ETF. And then I will also send your community an exclusive sign up link with a big discount code because it looks like everyone here is pretty cool people. Um, and then if they want to get involved in my courses and kind of the self paced learning side of investing, they are more than welcome to, or they can reach out to me for one on one coaching. I'm opening 2 slots for the rest of August to help people with their initial setups. I really love what I do. I hope I can do this on a full time basis one day. And I really appreciate you having me on here. It's been super, super fun, Ebony.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've absolutely loved connecting with you, and there's so much value in that share. So if I've added in the chat there as well, you'll see that's my Instagram page. So make sure, Shall pop yours up as well. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, because as the Yacht Transition Collective grows, we're having more speakers come out. I'm really excited. I've got lined up some speakers of what they have actually done outside of yachts. So once they've come to land, they've created successful businesses. So we'll have people on like sharing what they're actually doing now to create success and fulfillment and following their values and how they've discovered that. I know we've just had a recent call with Kareen, the crew coach, and that was all about the mental health side of things. We really need a lot of support in that transition, because It is. I'm sure we've all been through it, all of those that have stepped off, just that adjusting to land life after you've been in the industry for a while. So, yeah, I'll make sure, that once you jump into what I've shared there too, the Yacht Transition Collective WhatsApp group, you'll see all of those videos that are posted in there. So you'll get the access to the replays and everything like that. I love that Charles actually popped up his Instagram, and then there's that link, how to invest as a yachty. So make sure you grab those. I'll get those links off you after the call too, Charles. But yeah, been really incredible having you on and have loved connecting here. So we'll make sure that we keep that relationship going and we can continue supporting yachties because Lord knows we needed it,
Yes, we did. Thank you. You're doing great things, and yeah, I would love to do more of these in the future.
Yeah, amazing. Me too. And thanks so good on you for making yourself available. I know it's so easy to choose something different, especially being up in Noosa. You could have been laying on the beach or something like that, but good on you for choosing to be on here today.
Legend.
All right. Big love all. Take care.
Okay,
Bye.
guys. Bye bye.